I've had a lot of time to reflect. And I have to say, I was genuinely surprised at how many of you wrote letters telling the judge that I was mentally ill, like my mother. Not that the judge needed much convincing. My father saw to that. Still, I trusted you. I loved you. And yet not one of you tried to help me. Except for my brother, the man you all flew in to mourn. And you know, the real thorn in my side is that unlike everyone here, I was innocent. I mean, Jesus Christ, Milos has a higher body count than I do.
Sophia!
I know, you're all anxious for me to leave. No one has been shy about that. I'd really hoped that it would be different. But I understand. I don't fit into this family anymore. So tomorrow I am starting a new life. For the first time, I have hope. To new beginnings. Centani.
One day see a strange little girl look at you. One day see a strange little girl feeling blue. She'd run.
Greetings, citizens of Gotham, and welcome back to
The Penguins Mightier.
a special Penguin podcast, part of Geek Mentality. And I'm here to talk about another excellent episode of The Penguin. We're talking Centani, which I think I looked up on Google Translate. It said 100 years. Did I get that right? I watched this episode yesterday, and I didn't get a chance to record it because I finished it really late, and I thought, oh my goodness, I would be up all night if I try to record and get this up. So I failed you, the loyal listener. I'm not going to say plural because I don't want to get my hopes up, but I'm here tonight. I didn't rewatch it. I took no notes. I'm going completely on memory, and this episode was excellent. This episode really changes things about who possibly is the hero you're rooting for in this show. And this show, I don't feel like I am being taking too much of a leap to say, I think Emmys will be considered for the show. I think Emmys should be considered for this show. If not for Colin Farrell, for Kristen Milioti, am I saying that right? Because yes, the show's called Penguin. Yes, Penguin was in this episode, but this was not a Penguin episode. This was a Sophia Falcone episode, and it was pretty great. So we know very little about this version of Sophia Falcone. She's been in live action before. She was in an episode, or at least episodes of Gotham, a show I used to watch. Another DC character featured in this show, this episode, was also in an episode of Gotham in the past, but we'll get there. What we know about her in this show is that she's referred to as the Hangman. She was in the Arkham State Hospital, is it right? The Arkham Hospital. They don't call it Arkham Asylum here. But she was there for 10 years, and she's been known to have murdered multiple women. And in the past, she said, like, I'm not the Hangman. I'm not the Hangman. And you didn't really quite understand that. But in this episode, you find out what that means. But before that, we pick up right before the end of the last episode. At the end of the last episode, we see that Maroni's It's Maroney, right? Whatever. We see that the other guy, the other mobster's wife, shows up, and she's like, "Penguin, you son of a bitch, I'm gonna get you." And Vic saves the day, runs one of the henchmen over. He gets in the car and says, "Leave her. Let's get out of here." And I'm thinking, how are you going to come back from that, Penguin? How are you going to come back from just you all of a sudden you're in good with her and then you just leave her? Well, it wasn't as simple as that, and I really liked that because when you watch that episode, you're like, "What? Why would you just do that?" And now you know why he did that because it all came out before Vic, came in and ran that dude down. It all came out that the Penguin was working both ways. That Oz was working with Maroney and working with Falcone to get Maroney the drugs, or at least that's what he's saying. I think he just wants the drugs for himself. I think he's playing both of them, but he's definitely going behind Sophia's back. And I think this is when she finds out that he killed her brother. So she gets knocked out. That's when Oz leaves, and that's the end of us seeing Oz in this episode. There's no way the Penguin wants to get anywhere near Sophia after how this episode started. We get a flashback. She gets knocked out. She calls her doctor Theo Rossi, and we get a flashback now of her and how she went from who she was to who she is. A whole decade previous, we see her kind of as the good daughter. She goes to charity events. She is the kind of the apple to her father's eye. She is the one that he wants to basically take over the family business because the son's too much of a screw up. And she's like, "Anything for you, Daddy. I'll do this. This is, she's all excited. She is like the perfect daughter, loyal, loving, smart, competent, all those great things." And a woman comes up to her, saying she's from some charity or something, but she's really a reporter, and she wants to ask about women who have been killed, women who died by hanging. Now we find out that that Sophia's mother took her life when Sophia was a child, and this is kind of what spurred her to do this charity. Now we find out that all these women who worked at the club, the club within the club, was at 44 Below, which is in the Iceberg Lounge. We find out that a bunch of women died. They are all by way of quote unquote hanging. She's like, "I'm not talking to reporters," but it kind of gets to her. I think Oz says, don't talk to any reporters, but she ends up reaching out to the reporter just because she wants to get clarification. She is kind of nervous of what she's hearing. She's concerned. So she does talk to the reporter, but she's like, "This is bullcrap. You have nothing. There's nothing on my family." But Oz finds out, and he's like, "You shouldn't have, you shouldn't have." I may be getting this wrong because again, I watched it yesterday, but Oz finds out that that she was talking to a reporter, and it gets back to Mr. Falcone, the dad. Is it Carmine? Now, we know Carmine has a penchant for strangling people. In the Batman movie, it was John Turturro playing the role. And I wish, I like Mark Strong, but I like John Turturro as a better actor. They just maybe couldn't get him. I figured he'd be back in some sort of flashback because, again, he died in the Batman. But remember, he strangled Selena's friend on tape. That's what kind of got him in trouble, arrested. So he likes to strangle, and he will do it. And remember, Selena's his daughter as well. So technically, Catwoman is Sophia Falcone's half sister, right? So the fact that they're half sisters, I wonder if that will ever come up again. But she left town the last time we saw her, so she's out of Gotham right now. But there is word that goes back to Mr. Falcone, the dad. I'm getting the names wrong. Carmine Falcone, right? It's Carmine Falcone. Doesn't matter. But it gets back to her dad that she may have talked to a reporter. She's like, yeah, she's got nothing. It's so garbage. Obviously, right? Right, Dad? There's nothing going on, right? He's like, you're not well. Go home. You need to get out of here. How would you ever talk? Why would you ever talk to me like that? So now she starts to suspect that her dad, not only maybe because these women died the same way. They're all hookers. He called them, they're just hookers at the club. They all died the same way her mother died. So now she's like, I remember there being blood under, she's having memories of blood under Ma's fingertips, and you had scratches on your hands. You can like, obviously there's a explanation, right, Dad? Right? So the whole thing is, and forgive me if I'm getting some of the facts wrong, the whole thing is she kind of suspects her dad is kind of a multi-murderer, and I'm sure he is. And he's like, you know what? He owns like so much of Gotham that he says, you're not yourself. You need to be seen by someone. He's seen by someone. Oh, first, she's arrested for all these murders. So that happens. Then she's brought in, and it turns out that she needs to get a psych eval and be held for 60 days. And then it's like, sorry, you're not coming out. So he did all these things, basically, twisted all these arms, pulled all these strings to lock his daughter away because his daughter knows or suspects that he murdered multiple women. So just let's put her away, and I guess I'll give everything to my son. The son seems to be loyal. The brother seems to be loyal with her the whole way. So as much as a douche as he is, and as much as he kind of was laughing right in Penguin's face, he did love his sister. And so you kind of feel bad for her. Then you know why she actually cares about him being dead. She doesn't seem to care at all about dear dad being dead, but she cares about her brother. But he is a jerk to Oz. In the flashbacks, she's being driven by him, and he's like, get your penguin to do it. She's like, don't call him that. But at the same time, you can also see the penguin is fairly low on the totem pole. He comes in at some point, and she's like, Oz, what are you doing inside? Like, so she is this is before going to prison and everything, but she is kind of like, she looks down on him. So that's why he doesn't care, really, that in the end, he's going to be able to, throw her under the bus to get him higher up on the list. He's like, I'm sorry, that's why I told you, Dad, I'm sorry. But it'll all go away. Don't worry about it. That's when she gets arrested. That's when she gets taken in, goes to prison, and is locked away for 10 years, where she has basically a psychotic break to a degree, because I wouldn't say a break, they break her. A shock therapy, abuse, letting her get beat up, just completely, I think they medicate her, all these things. And she has a next door neighbor in a different cell. They call her the Magpie. Now, the Magpie is a DC character created by John Byrne. She first appeared, I think it was in Man of Steel number 3. Did I read that right? From November 1986. So Magpie as a DC character has been around for, almost 40 years at this point. So it's cool. It's always cool seeing those little breadcrumbs, those little Easter eggs that get thrown in. She is kind of her only friend, but she's very, like overly kind of deranged, and to the point where Sophia actually kills her in prison, smashes her head because she thinks she's working with the doctors. Because all this time, I'm innocent, I'm not crazy, I'm innocent, I didn't do this. And the girl's like, oh, you can do these wonderful pills. And she's like, you trying to get me to do this? Are you working for them or with them? She's like, what are you talking about? I'm your friend. And that's what she smashes her face in. One of the doctors at the hospital is Theo Rossi, who I feel like he's definitely got a thing for her. We see a little tension. They get really close to each other later in present time. But she really, we see her have a complete break in prison. There's a cool thing where she thinks she's peeling away a wall and seeing this wallpaper, and she peels it all away until it realizes she's in her parents' house, in her parents' bedroom, where she found her mother. So it was just a really well acted, well done kind of story where we find out that all these family members wrote letters saying she's not well, basically corroborating the dad's story that she should be locked away for good for her own safety. So while all that happens, she finally gets out after 10 years. I don't remember how she got out. I don't remember why she got out. In fact, I don't even know if we get that far. I know she's there for 10 years. And then all of a sudden she wakes up and we're in present day and she's in the Dr. Theo Rossi's, whatever his name is, in his house. He doesn't work at the hospital anymore. He's like, I left. You couldn't leave. I left. He lets her, get cleaned up. He lets her kind of wash the blood off, get a change of clothes. They get really close, but nothing seems to happen there. But we'll see. And she ends up realizing that she needs to, she knows now that her family doesn't look down upon her. The one person she thought she was going to work with actually killed her brother and is a double cross agent in the first place. Now, she could go to them and tell them, hey, Penguin's doing all this. She doesn't do that. Instead, she shows up at this dinner that she was not invited to in this like fancy hot dress. And she just basically interrupts Luke, her uncle, says, I'm going to give a speech. None of you people cared about me. None of you people wanted me in the family. I'm not part of this family. And she's like, I'm out of here. I'm starting over, a new leaf tomorrow. Tomorrow's a brand new day. And that's when she uses the title of the episode, which I already forget. I had it written down somewhere. And she gives that as her toast. And everyone goes to bed. She goes and gets her niece and says, let's go outside. Let's go outside. I want to, we used to play this game where we go outside and sleep in the greenhouse. It's nice out here. Let's sleep in the greenhouse. Well, I had a feeling that something was going to happen. She opened a window. She went and got her, she opened one window, which I was like, wouldn't you want to close all the windows? But she opened one window and she said, she brought her niece out to the greenhouse. And then she went back in and closed everything up, all the windows. And she opened up this I don't know if it's the heat, whatever the exhaust is. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but she basically kills everyone in the friggin' house by carbon monoxide poisoning. Everyone in the house except one person. Now, I thought that it's Johnny Vitti. She leaves him alive. And the scene of this is incredible. There's like opera playing. She goes from room to room and you just see all these people dead. I think including like the cousin who was maybe not her niece, but her cousin, the little girl's mother, I think dead. The other people dead. Her uncle Luca dead. There's nobody left. If I'm seeing that correctly, everyone is dead, but Johnny Vitti, the dude from House of Cards. She goes into, I've been calling him Doug Stamper, but it's Johnny Vitti. She goes into his bedroom. That's the room with the window open. She leaves him alive. He stirs awake, and she's standing there with a gun. And I thought she was going to be like, I saved you for last. Like, I remember when I saved you for last, I lied. I thought she was going in to be like, here, you get a personal bullet to the brain. But instead she says, we have to talk. And that's how the episode ends. And you realize now she's going to be like, look, everybody's dead. I'm the last Falcone standing. You work for me now. And watch out because Oz and Maroney are working together. That's what I think we're going to get to. Am I correct that there's only 6 episodes of this series? We're only getting 6 total. Oh, we're getting 8. Okay. Oh my God. I was so nervous that we're only getting 6. So we will be getting, oh my goodness gracious. Oh, I'll be back. Oh, shit. So here's the thing. I won't be back. November 10th, the season finale, possibly the series finale of Penguin is November 10th. On that day, I'll see clearly. On that day, I will be in one of the Carolinas, North Carolina, South Carolina, I don't know. I will be driving my mother-in-law to Florida. I will be in Florida the next day. On November 11th, I expect that I will be putting up the final episode of The Penguins My Dear, which I will be recording probably while walking around my mother-in-law's neighborhood in Florida at night. There might not be a video for that one. It might have to just be audio. But I'm excited to to finish out this season. So I know what I'll be doing. I'll probably wait till Monday to watch it. Maybe I'll watch it Sunday night, and because I'll be in a South Carolina hotel room, and my mother-in-law will be asleep by 8:05 p.m. and I will want to not be asleep, so I'll be up still watching The Penguin. I saw an article today that said people want to say, the Penguin's good and it's great. It's neither of those things. It is incredible. It is like the best piece of prestige television in a while. I was like, wow, that is saying something. But they're kind of right. The show's pretty excellent. And it's really has nothing to do with the fact that it's in the Batman world. It just so happens to be in the Batman world, and they're telling excellent stories with excellent acting and excellent characters, all created in the Batman world. So there was let me see if I can find it. So there was a comment. Let me see if it's from last week. Yes. Jose Moran, I hope I'm saying that right, on YouTube says, because I said last week, I don't think, Batman's probably not going to show up, but he had a good idea. He said, I think the Batman shouldn't show up in the show, but I think Bruce Wayne showing up in the background or on TV or something, that would be cool. And I like that. He doesn't have to play any part in anything. We just see Bruce Wayne, an article, a story. I was looking at the newspaper that Sophia collapsed against yesterday, and I thought, maybe we'll see Bruce Wayne there. Nope, no Bruce Wayne anywhere yet, but we still have time. We're only halfway through this season. I hate to say, because I know it says limited series. When I see limited series and I see something this great, it gets me nervous because I want it to be 10 seasons, 600 episodes per season, but we won't get that. But we did get something excellent with this episode. 4 in a row, each one getting better and better. And this one, we did not see any progression in the Penguin's side of things. We saw flashbacks of Sophia. We saw her, how she became who she became, kind of the mental abuse given to her or forced upon her by her own family, her own father, that led her to be the way she is now. And guess what? Daddy's dead. Dear brother's dead. And now everyone else in the family, except Johnny Vitti, who's, he's not in the family, but everyone else is dead. You want to call me the hangman? Guess what? I'll be the hangman. You're dead. So I can't wait to see what happens from there. I'm sure I missed a few things, but still, excellent episode. I'm very excited to continue watching the show and to continue talking about it with you, the people of Gotham. So that's it. I'm done. I'm not going to bother you anymore. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, Mastodon.social, and Instagram. Did I say that? At Geek Mentality. The Facebook page is Fans Not Experts. The YouTube channel is Fans Not Experts. And the website is fansnotexperts.com. That's it. I'm done. Until next week, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. And here is my theme song. This is my podcast. I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe, 'cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time, and I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode.
Fans Not Experts.